Welcome to SVG TV News for Monday, October 17th, 2022. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Vincentians from all walks of life came together on Sunday outside the Clear Valley Primary School for the funeral service of the 5 young men who lost their lives in a vehicular accident in Sandy Bay on September 11th, 2022. It was a solemn occasion, especially for the grieving families, many of whom wept openly as they viewed the caskets with their loved ones inside. Member of Parliament for the constituency, Nigel Nature Stevenson, says the death of the young men is a loss not only for their families, friends, and Clear Valley, but the entire constituency and SVG.
You must not be in doubt that you would never have had to bear this burden alone, because your joy is our joy, your pain is our pain, and we will do all that we can to cushion the pain that you're feeling. It is going to take years. Years. So when we talk about death, it is an enemy as the Bible describes it. It is your enemy, but you would not be allowed to walk the road all by yourself, because we are going to be here in whatever capacity to assist you through this. The family, again, I express my deepest sympathy. I cannot begin to understand your grief and your pain, but God knows. He understands, and He will see you through.
Opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday says when death happens so sudden and involves young people, the pain and feeling of loss is magnified. He said he hoped the support and care of the wider community, who know of and share their loss, will continue to bring some measure of comfort and peace to the deceased families.
When we came in today, I could see, understandably, that the family members were inconsolable, because we have come now. This event happened 4 weeks or so ago, just over that, but today is the final parting. And I hope and pray that you will get some comfort soon. When I met with the family members, I could see the courage, the strength that must be born out of faith that they sought to display, but I knew when their hearts were broken. And today, it's on full display here before us. And that is as it should be. Because when we lose loved ones, especially in these circumstances, there is nothing to prepare us for that. It is impossible not to be moved by the enormity of the incident.
Dr. Friday says in a split second, lives were changed as the incident on September 11th in Sandy Bay took everything from the 5 young men who lost their lives and left their relatives to try to cope.
We cannot feel the pain in the way that the close relatives and friends do, or grieve as you would, but we feel it nonetheless. The presence of so many mourners and supporters here today testifies to that. So please know, family members, that you're not alone. We are with you in this time of grieving. Through it all, you have shown amazing grace and courage. Remarkable courage. May God continue to bless you and to give you strength and faith to continue to cope long after the activities and the arrangements that conclude with the funeral here today are over, and you are left only with your thoughts and your memories and fellow family members to support you.
Noting that the 5 young men met their deaths in sudden and unnatural circumstances on September 11, 2022. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves says what happened on that fateful day will be etched in the collective memory of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and more so of Clare Valley. He says, like the Rat Gutter 7, the Clare Valley 5 will be remembered as long as our civilization lasts, as they all were cut down in the prime of their life.
And that is why I gave the instructions that the flags be flown at half-mast from that day until today, in respect for these 5 humble but gifted and disciplined young men. This is a family occasion, it's a community occasion, it is a national one. And that is why when the families made the request to me, in my capacity as Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, for 4 of the family members who are elsewhere, where their liberty is constrained, to have them released today to be with their families and friends.
Prime Minister Gonsalves told the gathering that from the moment he was informed about the incident, every single day, the young men, their families, friends, and Clare Valley are in his mind and prayers, and that the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines will continue to give support to those who depended on them, as well as the survivors.
You see this piece of paper? I carry this around with me in my diary. I have lots of different notes, but on this I have the important notes, so that anywhere I am, my diary is with me. So are these persons. Now, death is something very difficult for us to cope with. And we have to, in this period, go to the poets and go to the literature. And we have to talk to the scriptures, and we have to talk to our pastors and our grandparents and parents to hold our hands at this time of real anguish.
PM Gonsalves says in addition to a monument that will be erected in memory of the young men, from next year, the government will grant 2 university scholarships in their memory and that of the 7 students killed in the bus accident at Rat Gutter on January 12, 2015.
And on behalf of the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, on my own personal behalf and that of Eloise, I express sincerest condolences to the immediate family and friends of the Clare Valley 5. May they rest in peace, and may light perpetual shine upon them.
In other news, the economy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is projected to grow by 5.9% by the end of 2023. And Minister of Finance Camilo Gonsalves says the main contributors to the growth by industry include, but are not limited to, tourism, agriculture, manufacturing and construction, which will account for about 50% of the projected growth in 2023. The Finance Minister was at the time responding to a question from opposition MP Sinclair Leacock, in which he was asked to disaggregate the growth.
The other notable performers, in addition to the ones asked by the Honourable Member, will include wholesale and retail trade and transportation and storage, and the numbers are as follows. I'm going to list the sector and the growth rate projected. Agriculture, forestry and fisheries expected to grow by 8.3%. Manufacturing by 5.7%, construction by 10%, accommodation and food service activities by 23.3%, wholesale and retail trade by 7.5%, transportation and storage by 24.8%. So, Madam Speaker, contrary to the narrative that is being offered in some circles, that the economic growth is solely focused on construction activity, as if construction activity is a bad thing. Those numbers will indicate, Madam Speaker, that the growth projected next year is multi-sectoral and broad-based.
Another question posed by the opposition MP to the finance minister was for him to indicate what is the contribution of remittances to GDP. The finance minister pointed out that it was a difficult question to answer since they will not be able to tell how remittances can contribute to GDP in any specific way because people use these resources how they want. He, however, provided the answer in terms of percentage of the remittances to GDP.
In 2019, remittances were 7% of the total GDP. In 2020, it was also 7%, even though the GDP was a little bit lower. As you know, the economy contracted that year. And in 2021, it was 8%. Honorable members should also note, Madam Speaker, that the support programs that were managed by the World Food Programme as a response to the volcano, when people were receiving monies from the World Food Programme and other support entities via Western Union, those were calculated as remittances because the number that we get is a raw number of money received at the Western Union and the MoneyGram. So that is an additional $3 million or so that would be reflected in these numbers, even though, strictly speaking, they might not be remittances in the sense that one would consider remittances. I'm obliged.
In a supplementary question with respect to the projections for 2023, whether he anticipates a reduction in the level of unemployment in the state with the expected growth in the economy, the finance minister says yes. There
will be, but just to disaggregate very slightly, there are people who lost their jobs consequent to COVID, particularly in the hospitality sector. We expect they will regain their jobs, or they will not necessarily those particular individuals, but there will be re-employment in the hospitality sector and projected growth. And then in the construction sector, we're already seeing considerable pickup in employment in that area. In fact, we're seeing scarcity in some particular trades at this point. So we do expect an increase in employment, and we don't believe this too will be jobless growth. We believe that there will be an increase. Now, whether or not it will be a one-to-one increase, we'll have to analyze the numbers after the fact to see whether or not that will be the case.
The Ministry of Agriculture celebrated World Food Day with its annual exhibition and ceremony on Friday at the Park Hill Playing Field under the theme, Leave No One Behind, Better Production, Better Nutrition, Better Environment, Better Life. World Food Day was observed on Sunday, October 16th. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Chief Agriculture Officer Renato Gums said that World Food Day is being observed in a year which has been affected by multiple challenges, including the COVID-19 pandemic, the eruption of La Sofrea volcano, and the rising prices of food.
Of course, this year is a very challenging year. We have been through the pandemic, which began 2 years ago. Then we had the volcanic eruption last year. Now we are faced with greater challenge with the high prices of food. And we know that there are three basic needs we always identify, which is food, housing, and shelter. But I think if you don't have the food, you will not need the housing. So we see it very important that we must ensure that we are able to feed ourselves.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Narissa Gittins-Macmillan, said that the crises and challenges that the country faces have directly impacted at least 3 UN Sustainable Development Goals.
Vital to food security and sustainability, and assist in leaving no one behind. They are poverty, zero hunger, good health and wellness. How can there be good health without good food on demand? And based on our dietary guidelines, how can there be stable vital signs of the human body without nourishment? How can there be healthy mental health without nourishment? Remember, leave no one behind. Better production, better nutrition, better environment, better life.
Outlining the importance of food, Macmillan said that the body needs food to function at its best.
What happens to the vital functioning of the body is largely dependent on the availability, sustainability, and affordability of food. Without food, the health vital signs will become erratic. The impact of food or lack of it affects the vital functioning of every sector of human existence. This necessitated that the focus be placed on sustainable food systems in order to provide a healthy diet to all populations on a consistent basis. This feat is becoming more elusive and has propelled governments to create strategies to mitigate against food shortages, which results from a myriad of factors.
And Chief Agriculture Officer Renato Gums was commended for his work in the advancement of agriculture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He was commended by Minister of Agriculture Subota Caesar, who also commended farmers and fishers for their hard work and commitment in ensuring that there is food security and food sovereignty in SVG.
Last year we were not able, nor the year before, to have the event in the open because quite naturally we were recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic and we had the physical distancing rules in place. But today, farmers, fishers, food producers throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the region, we celebrate hard and smart work, dedication. Farmers are waking up in villages, not only in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but across the region, waking up in the morning, putting on their water boots, finding time to go to your lands, whether it's a rainy day or a sunny day, and sowing seeds so that we can have food security and food sovereignty in our country.
Speaking on the achievements in the agriculture sector locally, Minister Caesar said that it is shining global light.
The producing sector in this country will be providing more food for the hotels which are coming on stream. As a government, we have expressed the political will to reduce the food import bill. The root crop sector in SVG is robust. We continue to export livestock. Banana and plantain production continues to contribute to export and local food security. We have more cocoa today than the previous 4 decades. We are constructing, as we speak, a modern arrowroot factory and a modern medicinal wellness industry with an emphasis on cannabis and soon psychedelics, other herbs, spices, including sea moss. We are shining global lights. In short, we have built a diversified production platform right here in our country. In the discussions today with the other ministers of agriculture in the OECS, we noted that the time has come for joint marketing, for joint production, for joint technical implementation, for joint insurance, for joint shipping, and for joint certification activities.
SVG Robotics, the team that represented St. Vincent and Grenadines at the first Global Challenge Robotics competition in Geneva, Switzerland, put on an outstanding performance, which was highlighted in Parliament today by Minister of Education Curtis King, who congratulated the team for their accomplishment.
Of importance is the performance of the team. Of the 164 participating countries, the team from SVG placed 80th, and of the 12 Caribbean countries that participated, the team placed 6th. But of even greater importance, I just want to just quote a bit about what is described as their greatest accomplishment during the competition, where they received the first Global Safety Award for demonstrating safe engineering design, safe engineering processes, and safe gameplay during the ranking matches. I know I met with the guys before, I met with the team before departure, and the enthusiasm was significant, and I knew that they were going to do well. But in the overall scheme of things, where STEM education is becoming more and more important, really put that performance within that context. So congratulations to the team.
As the Miss SVG pageant draws near, we continue to feature the contestants vying for the title. Contestant number 3, Shannon John, herself preparing for the pageant, has been rough. However, she is confident that she's well prepared to be crowned Miss SVG 2022. John, who hails from Vermont, is sponsored by Setco Caribbean Engineering Design Consultant. A teacher by profession, John's dream is to become a child psychologist. She told SVG TV News that one of her biggest challenges preparing for the pageant is finding time to sleep. She also spoke to us about her community outreach project aimed at promoting safety and reducing crime in the Vermont community.
We identify challenges that you face during this preparation.
I would say my biggest challenge, as I said before, it would be finding time to sleep. Alright, because sometimes we have appearances so early in the morning where we would have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but sometimes from the activities that we had the night before, sometimes they run over into 10 o'clock, so we only have like 5 hours to sleep and things like that. So that would be the biggest challenge, actually finding time for yourself to actually sleep. I had to stop walking. Because I could not balance walk plus the show. I could not at all. But thankfully my sponsor have been a great help to me, and I really appreciate them for that. I'm very confident. I'm not a stranger to the stage. I am a soca artist as well, so I'm not a stranger to the stage. I feel like if I was not accustomed to the stage, it would have been more of a challenge. But because I love the stage and I have been a part of the stage for the past about 3 years, I'm actually ready to hit that stage again.
What sort of encouragement can you give to the younger females who are looking up to you?
Well, since I've started the show, I've gotten a lot of comments pertaining to my hair and my size. A lot of women, they say things like, oh, I like how you don't wear weave and you don't wear much wigs and you don't wear much makeup and you're confident in your body. One thing I want to leave here with younger females, younger girls, is that you don't have to wear all of these things in order to be a queen. I try my best to give everybody my natural, authentic self. This is my hair, this is my size, and it's either you accept me or you don't accept me. I don't feel like anyone should pretend to be or lose 50 pounds because they feel like that is how a queen should look. I want everyone, I want to change that stigma, and that is why I actually remained in the show, because I got a lot of discouragement pertaining to my size, I'm too thick and this. But I just want to let them know, swimwear, there's only one section in the show. It's only one section, and even if you don't win swimwear, you can win the show.
24-year-old Tanique Swift is contestant number 8. Swift, who is from Maricoa, is sponsored by Massey Stores. Speaking with SVG TV News, Swift said that in the next 5 years she sees herself as a cardiologist, also admitting that it was challenging preparing for the pageant. Swift says patrons can expect nothing but the best from her on the night of the pageant on October 29th.
Has preparation been for you?
The preparation has been difficult, I must say. It is hard. I am not going to sugarcoat this. I will keep on repeat this, that the journey has been a tedious one. But despite of my challenges, I will continue to persevere. Yes, Miss SVG has always been a long-term goal for me. I see that this is a great opportunity for me to be a beacon of hope and also advocate for persons like myself. That is to become a cardiologist, and in the next 5 years I see myself pursuing my degree in cardiology. My community service project was centered around the theme geriatric care. That's basically dealing with the elderly within my community. It was a great experience. I must say that it impacted my life more than I think that it impacted the elderly life. What I did is basically give food basket to our elderly in my community, and I had a concert at the Joy View Coach. This project, I have learned that no matter the situation is, no matter how hard it is, continue to persevere. And despite of what criticism that you might get, use those criticism as constructive criticism. Use them to build yourself.
Were there any challenges that you faced going through this project?
My project, I had a plan for my project where I wanted to take out the elderly for a dinner, but I was unable to do that because they were most immobile, and that was a great challenge for me.
Okay, do you see yourself continuing this even after the pageant?
I must say that I will love to do so. I'm hoping to extend it where I can create a group within my community, and also extend it to St. Vincent where I can encourage persons in St. Vincent to let us appreciate our elderly, visit them, let them feel loved and appreciated. What I tell people is that no matter what you're going through in life, keep calling on God. Remember that everything in life happens for a reason. There is nothing that you cannot do. As long as you can will it, it will be yours.